Now, what is a digestion? Digestion simply means it is the breakdown of large insoluble food into small soluble food. Food. Let us see large food, maybe your protein, carbohydrates, and lipids. This protein carbohydrate must be break down in our body so that it can be absorbed by the cell. So protein must be break down into amino acid, carbohydrate must be break down into glucose, and lipid must be break down into fatty acid. These molecules are soluble in our cell. These are small soluble food. Let us discuss about digestive system. Digestive system, it includes GI tract or gastrointestinal tract, liver, pancreas, and gallbladder, and few associated glands. Now GI tract can be also subdivided into flowing parts. That is mouth, esophagus, stomach, and small intestine. Then large intestine. Now let us understand the digestive system in a diagram. This portion is known as mouth. From mouth to till here, it is known as esophagus. And this portion is known as stomach. From below the stomach, we have small intestine. From here, we have our large intestine. And at the end, we have anus. There are few other organ associated in the digestive system. They are liver, and below the liver there is a small portion known as gallbladder, and there is also one pancreatic duct. This is known as pancreas. This is our overall diagram about digestive system. Let's discuss about digestion process. Digestion process completes in the following steps. Number 1, ingestion. Number 2, breakdown of food. 3 absorption. At last we have elimination of waste. Now ingestion simply means taking food into our mouth. So digestion in mouth or oral cavity. Or buccal cavity. Now physical breakdown is done with the help of teeth. And the process is known as mastication. Whereas chemical breakdown involves enzymes. It involves enzymes. There is a gland present inside the mouth known as salivary gland. This gland secretes saliva. And saliva contains water, electrolytes, mucus, and enzymes. And this enzyme is known as salivary amylase. Now the salivary amylase will act on starch and break down into maltose and dextrin. Now starch is also a type of polysaccharide or a complex carbohydrate. After that, the totally undigested food such as protein, lipids along with maltose and dextrin mix with saliva and form a ball-like structure known as bolus. That is, along with maltose plus dextrin and protein plus lipid will get mixed with saliva and a ball-like structure will form, and this ball-like structure is known as bolus. Which is required for digestion in the stomach. Thus contains protein, lipids, maltose and dextrin, where protein and lipid is still undigested, where maltose and dextrin is just partially digested. Now this bolus will travel in the esophagus. Esophagus, from where it will travel to stomach by peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement. It will move in the stomach for further digestion. Where in stomach we can see the protein part will be digested. Till here digestion in mouth is completed. Now let us see in the digestion in stomach. Now the food will remain in the stomach till 4 to 5 hours. After that, its digestion process will complete. Let us discuss about digestion in the stomach. Now what happens in the stomach? Here the food will remain here 4 to 5 hours, where the protein part will get digested. Before going to the digestion process, we should know about the digestive gland, that is the gastric gland. Now this is a simple diagram of stomach, where this portion is known as cardiac. This portion is known as cardiac, and we know this portion is known as fundus. And this portion is known as pyloric. Now the gastric gland, which is located in 3 different positions, that is in fundus, that is in cardiac, and in pyloric. Now if we dissect the stomach, we will get different types of cell layer. Now if we zoom this portion, we'll get this type of structure. First cell layer is known as serosa. Second layer is known as muscle layer. The third layer is submucosa. And the fourth layer is mucosa. If we zoom this mucosa, we'll get our gastric glands and their different cells. Now structure we can assume as like this. where various types of cells were present. Let us assume this is our gastric gland. Here different types of cells are present, such as chip cell, G cell, and D cell, plus parental cell. Where chip cell secrete pepsinogen and lipase, where parental cells secrete HCl and some intrinsic factor. Now, this is our chip cell. We will secrete pepsinogen. It is a enzyme but in inactive form. Where our parental cell secrete HCl. Now when pepsinogen is bind with HCl, it become activated. And form a new enzyme known as pepsin. Now this enzyme will play an important role in protein digestion. However, the pepsin is secreted by the gastric gland of the sheep cell, act on a protein and break down into peptones and proteases. However, in infant, instead of pepsin, there is a special enzyme called renin, which act on milk protein called casein and break down into peptides. In stomach, a small portion of lipid digestion also takes place. Similarly, like pepsinogen, cell also secrete gastric lipase. These gastric lipase act on dietary triacylglycerol, which is also a lipid, simple lipid. Dietary triacylglycerol and break down into diglyceride and fatty acid. In presence of gastric lipase. Now the semi-digested mass of food semi-digested mass of food such as maltose, dextrin, peptones, proteases, and diglyceride plus fatty acid also known as chyme. Now this chyme or the semi-digested food will move to small intestine. Where the rest of the undigested food will get completely digested. Now let us see what happened in the small intestine. Digestion in small intestine. In small intestine, there are lots of juice secreted, such as pancreatic juice, intestinal juice, bile, etc., in where the full and complete digestion occurs. Semi-digested food in the form of chyme is released from the stomach to the small intestine. This is our small intestine. Then at that time our pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice contains lots of enzymes, and these enzymes were released through pancreatic duct into small intestine. This is our pancreatic duct. And the similar way our liver also secrete bile. which is stored in the gallbladder and released into our small intestine through a bile duct. This portion is known as bile duct. Now, pancreatic enzymes are those enzymes who will digest our protein. A pancreatic enzyme such as chymotrypsin, and carboxypeptidase. Now this enzyme will act on peptones. Chymotrypsin will act on peptones and break down into dipeptides. Whereas carboxypeptidase will act on proteoses and break down into dipeptides. Now let us discuss about role in liver. Liver plays an important role in fat or lipid digestion. Liver secrete bile, which convert lipids into fat droplets through a process called emulsification. So lipid is converted into diglycerides and monoglycerides. Through a process called emulsification. Now the final and complete digestion process will be completed by the intestinal juices. Now intestinal juices presence in the intestinal cell which secrete intestinal juices which secrete lots of enzymes such as maltase, intestinal lipase, and dipeptidase. Now this enzyme will complete the digestion process. Let us see maltase, which act on maltose and dextrin, and converts into two molecules of glucose and six molecules of glucose. Now let us see maltase is an enzyme which is secreted by intestinal juices or intestinal cells, which convert maltose into two molecules of glucose and dextrin into six molecules of glucose, whereas intestinal lipase which converts diglyceride into fatty acid, and monoglycerides into glycerol. And another enzyme which is also secreted by intestinal cell known as intestinal dipeptidase. Now this enzyme converts dipeptides into amino acid. Now these molecules are now ready to travel inside the cell. That is the now new process will arise, that is absorption. Now we have completed our digestion mechanism. Now let us discuss a little bit about absorption. Absorption takes place in small intestine. Let's see. Suppose this is our small intestine. Where the innermost cell lining is known as lumen. If we further zoom into a lumen, we can see this type of cells. This finger-like structure cell is known as villi. Now villi plays an important role in transporting of glucose, amino acid and fatty acid. Now this villi where glucose, fatty acid, and amino acid is passes through villi by simple diffusion. And from where it get transported into blood vessels. And after the blood vessel, it works different functions such as it glucose provide energy, and amino acid helps in body growth, cell repair mechanism, etc. Now the undigested food will pass through large intestine, and after that to the anus. So our digestion process is complete here. Thank you.